This month of October, President Donald Trump says Israel and Hamas have signed off on the first phase of a Gaza peace plan, which includes hostage release and Israeli withdrawal to an agreed-upon line. Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a U.S.-brokered ceasefire framework that will allow for the swift release of all hostages held in Gaza, Israeli withdrawal to an agreed point, and the release of some Palestinian prisoners. President Donald Trump said the hostages are likely to be released on Monday. His announcement of the agreement did not address some sticking points in the proposal, including Hamas disarmament and the future governance of Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, "The agreement was a diplomatic success and a national and moral victory for his country." Hamas thanked Trump and all mediators involved, Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey. Families of Israeli hostages held in Gaza and hostages previously released by Hamas celebrated the news. Palestinians in Gaza celebrated the agreement, cautiously hoping it will bring an end to Israel's war. Peacekeeping force in Gaza? How is it going to be administered? Where is money to rebuild Gaza going to come from? Still, U.S. President Donald Trump and his team deserve a lot of credit, Boots said. However, he added, "I think it's important that President Trump not simply take a victory lap now and say everything is solved. Peace has been achieved. Previous deals between Israel and Hamas have broken down over disagreements about Gaza's future," Boot noted. "Things could easily go off the rails unless the U.S. stays very closely engaged." Aaron David Miller, a former Middle East negotiator at the State Department, told Coates this is not the forever peace plan that Trump has described this as, and it is not Netanyahu's version of total victory. It comes out in the middle. There's a chance to end the war. There really is, Miller said. It's about leadership and its focus and its determination. That's what remains to be tested going forward. Hamas is much more vulnerable now than it ever has been over the course of the last 2 years, Miller told CNN's Laura Coates. The people running the show, the internal brigade commanders, are not attached, clearly, to the hostages in the same way as Yahya Sinwar, he said, referring to Hamas, former leader who was killed by Israel in October 2024. Secondly, the Arab states banded together to push Hamas to agree to release its Israeli hostages. Miller said, the Arabs, Qataris, and Turkey leaned on Hamas and tried to persuade them that the hostages were a diminishing asset, and I think Hamas' margin of flexibility increased, he said. Arab states came together in a way they have not, leaving Hamas fundamentally isolated with only Iran as a reliable patron.